Mr. Cranky Pants on here today. What have I got? Let's see. 2442 doesn't charge, or USB-C. This occurred suddenly. Alright, let's hope we've got a blown cap on this one. And not liquid damage. That would just make me even more cranky. Hey there, Cypher, Bunty, Electro, Thomas, Mr. Fix, Pedro. Go away, Pedro. Boy. Hey, Miles. Hey, Paul Hal. But yeah, Cranky Pants attitude today. Things have just been a little bit overwhelming. Not necessarily with the... you can see from this delightful, very rapid oscillating here that we've got a short of some mana there. So let's just get it open. Hopefully we don't have one that's dug its way through the board like we did previously. Pedro, you can have all my liquid damage ones if you want. I hate them so much. It's actually more the... it's more the negotiation situation that I hate so much. Because you have to explain to the person that, you know, you're going to get a machine back. If I do fix it, that's not necessarily going to last forever. And then they're going to be like, oh, but you know, it should be okay for a bit. And you're like, well, no, it could actually die 5 seconds after you get it, if not before you get it. But you're still going to have to pay. And even if they accept those conditions, I can tell you now that if it does die, they will be wanting their money back. Hey, Draco, B-Blood, Sam. Wow, what is that? That's a piece of plastic? Okay, it's plastic. I thought it was glass for a second. I was like, ooh, this is wild. Yeah, we've been having a hell of a week. Well, hell of a couple of weeks with the fur kids. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're basically... feels like we should just set up a room at the clinic because we're there so much at the moment. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. It seems like Monday comes along and something happens. That's so we just spent the better part of this week so far dealing with one of the girls having some issues, like Monday afternoon start seeing blood on the pee pads. Of you know, that's a very dramatic sort of thing to see. Fortunately, all is good. It's an infection, not a renal failure or anything like that. But you know, it's just like you wake up and you wonder what the hell is going to go wrong today, or what the hell is going to hit us today. It's getting ridiculous. Children are expensive. Well, that's certainly the understatement of the decade. They're ludicrously expensive. Now, of course, we don't lament the fact that we look after all of these critters. That's fine. We chose to do that, but just sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming. And then what doesn't help is when you have, you know, when you feel like you're having troubles with the clinic as well. Like as an example, we've got the antibiotics now for the treatment, and yesterday they give us the Moxiclav, and it's a flavoured tablet, which is great because, you know, that really does help tremendously with trying to get them to take the tablet. And so we tell them, okay, this worked wonderfully, we'll take more of those tablets, you know, that technique's going to work for us. And now at 8 o'clock at night, basically, we go to give the next tablet and we find out they gave us non-flavoured ones. And of course, naturally, the cat just goes, bleh, you know, doesn't take it. And it's just stuff like that that just pisses you off because you just think, great, now they're not going to get their proper dosage of antibiotics, and we've got to go back to the clinic, get the right ones, and, you know, it's throwing the schedule out. And, yeah, so you sort of, it's it's shit like that that just builds and builds and builds until some point you realize that you are living in the movie Falling Down and you are Michael Douglas. Or at least close to that. Great movie, by the way, but if you're young, probably don't bother watching it, mostly because you won't understand why it relates. But after a few years of living, you'll find you relate to it more and more. Mr. Paul Howe, I will get to that in a second. Thank you very much. This has been disassembled, I can tell, because the battery's been disconnected. I had the Dataflex disconnected, so we'll have to remind me to check Paul's PayPal contribution in a second, once I get all these bits and pieces out. And like with the vet clinic, it's it's just a mistake. Those things happen, but sometimes I feel like we really do get the wrong end of the stick when it comes to mistakes lately with the clinic. I think the most severe one that we had was where we put Maple through extremely invasive full body cavity, full internal surgery inspection, and it turns out from the x-rays I thought, oh, she's got a massive tumour. Turns out it's just fat, just two big lumps of fat. Now, yeah, and because that was a $2,000 process, and the cost isn't even actually the biggest issue. It's just the fact that you subject your fur kids to that trauma. I mean, there is nothing subtle about having that kind of full open examination, and it was entirely not required. Let's see, people have that issue now, settling your late father's account, all the bullshit with banks and brokers. Oh yeah, that's not fun at all. I was very lucky that my sister basically managed all of that stuff for me when our father died. She is she's a RN, so she kind of knows the ins and outs of the system quite a bit. So I was very thankful for that. But even with that, there was a whole bunch of solicitor crap and all that, and it wasn't even a complicated situation, and yet it still was tremendously taxing. At least it was fat. Agreed, Sam. I absolutely agree with you on that. I guess the problem is that I really would have thought it was a tough situation because we're kind of pressed for time, or at least we felt we were. In the end, what it was is that she actually poisoned herself in a way because we had flea treated all of them, and she was a bit of an excessive mothering preener. And so she went along and ended up getting 5 or 6 doses of flea treatment orally when it's actually supposed to be a topical application. So that was our mistake there. It's just like I say, just sometimes you just really lose your head. Yeah. I can happily say that this clinic does not pad their services, and I can happily say that the person is definitely has us first in mind, and I think in some ways that might be part of the issue in the fact that they're actually going above and beyond in some ways. Anyway, and unfortunately, when we took this most recent one with the infection in, she exposed her feral side, and she's only like 2-year-old, but she's a small kitten. But by God, when she doesn't want to be held or handled, she's terrifying. She's really terrifying. I mean, I've handled a lot of cats. This one just channels the full feral. Needs to say, she hurt the vet quite badly. But I know it's a hazard of the job, but you still feel bad about it. We did apologise and a few other things. Still doesn't feel great though. Anyway, like I said, that is life. Life is like that. Just sometimes it feels a little bit heavy on your shoulders. Hey, Wong Wei. Right, I think this is the last screw, and then I get the board out, and then I can check my messages. Meanwhile, Paul Howell's sitting there going, "Hurry up!" Okay, what's holding you back there, buddy? Alright. Can't see any burn marks. It's kind of a good sign, kind of not. Half and half. Let's see. Check PayPal. Alright, you know, when I rant about these situations and express to you how much burden it is on to deal with all these fur kids that we've rescued and things like that, understand that I don't expect anything back. In many ways, just being able to tell you and have you all understand what I'm going through is helpful. But in saying that, I would very much like to thank Paul Howe, who has contributed $100 and frequently does. Thank you, Paul. And B Blood now for his 20. I'd also like to thank Anderson for his 50. He just sent through 50. Thank you very much, Anderson. And Mr. Ben for his 150. So thank you all very much for that. That does cover the vet bill. But like I said, I don't express these things as sort of like a poor me type scenario. It's more a case of it's a frustration thing. That's like, I really want to do better for all the animals and things like that, and you just really do feel like, and I know all of you probably understand this, you just feel like sometimes things get a little bit rougher than what you'd expect out there. And as I said, we've been running this chain of Monday something happens for quite a few weeks now, and we're just sort of like getting a bit like, is this going to stop or what? And unfortunately, on the negative side of things, one of the stray that we routinely, every night we feed and care, and we try to get a little bit closer to each night. We've been doing that for a couple of years. That is how long it can take with strays. It takes years at times before you can gain their trust. For the last 4 nights he has not shown up, so we're now, it's not the first time he's done this, but he's got to be like 4 or 5 years old now. So we're sort of now in the limbo state of like, do we start mourning him not being, something's happened, and there's nothing you can do. You just, oh, hey babe.
Mika had her meds.
Mika had a medicine?
I put it in with mints.
With biscuits?
Mints.
Oh, mints. Alright, we're still going to go beat up the clinic tomorrow for doing that with one of the nurses. Okay, well, lucky Mika had her antibiotics, so at least we haven't ruined the sequence. But yeah, so I appreciate you all hearing me out. I know we're supposed to be here for board repair. Just sometimes I gotta vent off. Okay. Yeah, so this particular chap has not turned back up for the last 4 days, and we're now getting to the point where we're starting to think, something has happened. In the past, he has actually disappeared for 2 weeks and shown up. Suspect at that point he was actually locked somewhere, but it's very difficult to tell. It's very difficult to tell. You don't know. I think maybe after a month you might get to the point where, okay, it's actually happened. It's just, the number of, it's probably easily half a dozen, maybe 10 of those sort of situations that we've dealt with in the last 20 odd years while we've been here. In terms of actually rehoming abandoned cats and things like that, we've handled about 20, 30 of them easily. So day by day, you don't really remember that too much. You sort of keep that locked away. But every now and then, when these things come up, you start reflecting back, and you realize just how many of these, these little lives that you haven't managed to quite save early enough. So it weighs you down. So, A3X. All right, let's have a look. See if we've got a short somewhere around here. By the way, a new version of Flexboard View is out, and it's a big change to. I moved to SDL3 from SDL2. Anyone who does programming and things like that will know that SDL is kind of like a cross-platform graphics engine. Okay, so our fault is not with... Why is my multimeter not frickin' working? Seriously, multimeter? So, can we have that, please? Yeah, wow. Yeah, mycosis, cat, dog, whichever, you're trying your best. They're innocent little creatures, and sometimes you just feel like it's not enough. I've built that cat house, and I've tried to build other structures. Oh, well, that's well and truly not a short. Let's see, I'm missing Paul's here. You've just come out of hospital for low oxygen count. Go figure stage 4. Oh, right. Wait, what? Go figure stage 4 lung cancer. Could get oxygen for home. Wife says it's been delivered, and the doc comes in 30 minutes later and says you can't have it. Or why are they saying you can't have it? Prim's doctor. Wow, so he won't let you have it just simply for some liability reason? That's crazy. I mean, I understand liabilities, but surely, people have that oxy at home. Hey, Jason. Took in Australia a few months ago, disappeared for almost a week in the middle of the snowstorm. Oh, shit, yeah. See, now, when you got brutal weather like that, that's even worse. We're lucky we're at right now, at a sort of in terms of weather, it's very mild. But it's soon going to get cold. Not that cold is cold in this place. You can have a rough night, but you shouldn't drop dead around here. We get to maybe at the worst 3 or 4. But if you're out of the wind, then it's okay. You're going to shiver, certainly. You're going to feel it, but you're probably not going to die. So we've got something causing it to rapid oscillate. It really does feel like it's some kind of short. We've got to find it. Nobody give Paul a revolver. Oh, come on now. Michael Douglas got one, except it was a water pistol. And I suppose, unfortunately, that put an end to him too. I really do want to see that movie again, because I only saw it once in the theatres, and I was too young. I was only 17 or 16 or something like that. Life hadn't yet imparted anything much on me. But certainly now I would like to see it again. It's just a piece of crud, someone's breakfast cereal or something. So we're just doing a visual search because, well, that's the minimally impacting way of finding faults, assuming there is a visual fault to find. The fact that it's not on PP Bus is interesting. Okay, so they're not giving you the oxygen because it's a fire hazard and live in a flat. Oh, what? Yeah, that's comparatively lame in my opinion. I mean, obviously, yeah. Can you get another doctor to approve it? I'm guessing not. Time to go down to the local gas dispensary and get yourself a canister. Lighting is odd today. What do you mean by that, creature? You mean the lighting of my microscope? Where are you, Fault? Where are you, little short? It made me have to bring out the multimeter even more. Disinclined to think it's the speaker section because usually that would show up under PP bus. Like if you measure PP bus, if there's a problem in the speakers, you will typically see it there. That is another skin flake or something. I'm half expecting it to be in the PMIC regions based on how rapidly it's oscillating. Kind of feels like a PMIC behavior. Let's see, what was it peaking at? 1 amp. It might be worth actually putting this on the thermal camera. Even though it's oscillating very quickly, it's probably got a low duty cycle as well. But I'm thinking it might show up. Yeah, so I think we'll try that. See if we can get it to show up. 3VA on. Oh, yeah, thanks. I don't know why I keep... There is definitely some sort of mental blank going on that I continuously forget to check 3V8A on. So thank you for reminding me. This is a 2098. So I mean, in terms of appearance of Flexboard, this is a new version like 1119 here. It's not overly any different. You really can't tell the difference, but it's all behind the scenes stuff that makes it different now. Let's see. Hey, Mum and Hassan. Okay, so I think we'll test there. It's on the bottom side, the big caps. So yeah, that's registering pretty reasonable. 2K. Let's just have a look at some of the other areas. We'll put the continuity back on because at least it then beeps. I'm just blindly going along and trying all the big cap banks. Yeah, nothing's firing off. Kind of makes me feel like it's going to be a little ceramic. It's ticking it off. Hey, DC Repair, welcome. Okay. $10 says that my thing is going to be not charged enough. And fortunately I did get my fresh supply of various bits and pieces here. I might switch over to MagSafe 3, it's a little more robust. Hey Yinyamara. Oh yeah, who's down in New South Wales with all that dreadful flooding going on? Eastern New South Wales. That's some nasty stuff. I saw some of the images down there. You know, made... Yeah, it's not good. No matter where it happens, it's not good. I'm gonna laugh if this is... What the... Yeah, I'm gonna laugh if this doesn't have a short. It's interesting, the behavior is a bit different here. It's spiking, but it's some pretty decent spikes. But it's... I'm going to say that probably what's happening there is it's spiking really fast and not showing up. Anyway, I might switch back to USB-C in this case. Yeah, either it's happening so fast that the sampling rate is aliasing the outcome basically, or it's behaving differently on MagSafe 3. We're going to find out. Now if there is a different behavior, then that is an interesting outcome. Nope. Okay, what? Don't like it when this kind of thing happens. It makes me wonder, because I just bought these USB-C connectors. I just bought them from AliExpress. I know. That's really weird. Yeah, you know, sometimes, yeah, it's the only place you can source it now. In most cases, for these kind of things, you don't have any trouble. But every now and then, yeah, it can be a issue. What I'll do is I'll actually take... I'll take it straight out of the board here. At least then that way I know I'm dealing with exactly what was supplied, yeah, what's in the machine. Just putting the infrared camera on charge momentarily. Alright, well I'll get this out. Hey Bazaar. Level up to Temu. Oh yeah, okay, that's good. I'll be lucky if I get plastic bags even with it. Let's see. T5. I take the top one out of these because if you take the bottom one, the screw on the bottom of the bottom one gets a bit close to the MagSafe 3. magnet, and you have a fun time trying to put the screw back in without it flying off to the magnet. That one seems okay. Oh, we've got a repeating pattern there, so either we've got crappy... Oh, it stopped. Okay. That's fun. That's no fun at all. So basically we have to try and capture it within the first 3 seconds, it seems. Okay. Power up the gym cam. Hey laptop. Hey Craig Jedi. Okay, the camera looks like it's coming up. Schematics. I'm going to flip it over because like I said, I'm having a suspicion it's either going to be down here or here. They're kind of like the two ideal candidates for PMIC issues. I think we've got too much brightness going on here. Shut off the lights. Alright, so here we go. It's a weird behavior. Alright, we'll check back down here. Oh, that's not good. Was that NAND fired up? I think I'm going to have to blanket this one. Hi, Mimi. Doesn't look like it's thick enough. Yeah, I'm gonna need something that's darker. You'd think after having to do this so many times I would get myself a decent blanket setup, or a box setup or something. Alright, that looks a little more convincing. Can't see anything going on there. There's a little bit of activity over in the PMIC area. Sort of thought I saw something going on over here. Seems to be some sort of residual heat. Okay, off to the right there. Sort of around about here, but that's the ISL, I'm pretty sure, is it? Okay, I'm going to load it up on to see if we can get a closer view. Let's find myself a nice juicy book. Yeah, this will work. Computer graphics, principles and practice, that'll work. I really should just have a box that has been painted with Vount black on the inside and stuff like that. Okay, let's try this again. And now I'm not seeing a damn thing. It's just too much reflection. Okay, what else you got, Paul? What else can you use? Okay, we're going to go for the angled approach now. It really, all it does is basically just move your reflection point from one place to another. Yeah, okay, that's a little more convincing right there, right next to those two caps. Right here. Oh, except now it's staying there. No, that's not what we wanted. That's a false. No, that's false. I'm gonna go mad at this rate. It's kind of weird that it actually sort of intermittently it's weird that it doesn't run for constant all the time. See what I mean? It's like you don't know whether you're going to get 2 pulses or 50 pulses. I really do need a Vanta black box. The scary thing is, even if I do that, then you start picking up the reflections of the transmission of the camera itself. It does reek epemic, I 100% agree. I guess we'll flip it over and see if anything shines bright. Might drop it off the book at this point, it's not helping us. It's just causing more drama. And it literally does not matter which way I angle the camera, there's always going to be some kind of... Oh, now that was more convincing, wouldn't you agree? Up here, there was something up here, and that was very convincing. Let's try that again. Yep, there we go. That's what you want to see. Alright, found it. Oh boy. Let's get the lights back on so I can actually see what I'm doing around here. Leave that on charge. Okay, so I was up here. Oh, there is a few caps up there. There are a few caps, I should rather say. Could be one of the brown ones, or it could be the flyback diode. It could be a few things. It could be this something on the rail itself. It may not necessarily be a fault in that area. Oh yeah, no, I see it. Can you guys see that? You see that crack? I have not seen it crack like that for a while, but yeah, that's it. That's our fault. It's a little hard for me to keep this steady, but I'll try and set it up. Yeah, I'm sure you can see that now. That's pretty damn subtle, that one. If you have a look at the schematics, let's see, that's top side of the board over here. PPV out, keyboard LED connection. Okay, well I gotta tell you, I have not ever had that kind of area suffer a short. So that's a new one for me. What are we looking at? A 2.2 50 volt 603. Oops. Yeah, that's a different kind of crack. We see all kinds of cracks around here. But that's the first time I've seen one, mostly because I don't know if you can see that, but pardon me, it's progressing from both ends. Like we've got it coming down here and here. So I'm gonna guess it's actually more severe on the underside and working its way up. Right, now to get that one out. Naturally we've got a little overblown there, sorry. Here, got some colour back. Naturally we've got soft plastics there, so we're going to have to shield them off before we extract this. And my usual brick is probably not going to do the job right because it's going to obstruct too much. I'm not going to get the air in. So I kind of need to use a metal shield, just a lightweight metal shield. And that's not massively... I know some people who go, just, just go with it. Okay, I think we'll work with that, and I'm going to pin it down with the heavy piece. Too much pin down. Oh, but hilariously, there's a hole there. And you know what's going to happen when I do that? Yeah. It's going to blow right through that hole. It should be good about there. People go, wow, a little bit of an overkill, Paul. Bit of an overkill. But I don't want to be damaging parts I don't have to damage. And now, of course, I'm worried about the sticker. Jason, it is a sharpening stone indeed. Normally you'd use these for fishing hooks. Let's hope I don't melt too much. I mean, it's not going to be critical if I do, but I just don't want to. Yeah, it's nice to leave things as pristine as possible. Yeah, there's the... It's a very peculiar kind of crack. But yeah, you can see it there. I could have pickled the solder, but I was probably going to end up just mashing into something else. But I can this time now. I should have done that before I started looking at that crack. Someone doesn't have enough heat. Wow. Get all this crap out of here. Do this properly. Stop trying to work around the job, make the job work for me instead. It's a great big fat ground plane. It's half the reason why it was so hard to get it off. Yeah, I know it's messy. It's meant to be. Okay, it's not true. It's not meant to be messy. It's just that it's also not meant to be pretty. It's just trying to get some leaded down on there, but that whole area is very reluctant to take solder. Yeah, I could actually cover that with aluminium tape. Fortunately, I didn't really have to. It was just... Okay, and that leaves me with about the right amount of solder. Even though it's 603, they're quite tightly packed, so it does make it a bit of a inconvenient area. Okay, 603, 2.250. Ooh. Not sure if I have 2.250s. Guess we'll find out. Especially in 603s. Let's see. 2210, 603. Wait, what? Seriously? Yeah, 2210. 1025. 135. 163. No. 0.1. 1. 150. 10. 10. 100 nano. 1. 2.2, 10, damn it, 4710, 100 nanofarad, no, starting to get scared here. What did I just rip up? Nope. Yep, I was not wrong. I do not have 2.250s. So I'm going to have to find a 2.250 somewhere else. Alright, no drama. I do not have 2098 boards on hand. It is sort of fine without, but I would rather have it in there. It is a bypass, but it's only one of 8. So if you look at the schematics, it's basically only the one of 8 for the most part. So, you know, that's about a 12.5% loss. So I would rather put it back. Okay. 2.2 microfarad. What was it? 50 volts. 603. So let's see. Yeah, we've got a few hits already. I think we'll stop. We'll try the 2016. And let me guess, this is their keyboard backlight? Yep, okay, so the 2016 uses the same configuration. And okay, so they've got their cluster in here. Okay, goody. We get a 2016 board. Miles, I don't want to go back through the process of putting them all back on. Yep, all back together in there. Seriously, I've got one right here. It's going to be fine. You're going to pop those caps. might want to check if it's short before putting it on. We'll do that, but I'll be very surprised if it was. Are you talking about the one I took from a donor, or are you talking about has the short actually been removed? So we're open circuit on that. And the cap we're putting on is open. I don't know why I'm such an idiot. I should have just done it this orientation the first time. Right, I need another piece of sheet metal to fold. There we go, found it. I should have done this orientation the first time around. I don't know what I was thinking. Nice. Only the ever so slight amount of singeing on the sticker. That's pretty good going. Yep, there goes an organ donor. Mobile organ donor. I know it sounds hypocritical because, I'm a big motorcycle rider, love motorcycle riding. But at the same time, you can call out people that are pretty much too reckless to keep riding forever. Ah, damn it. I hate it when you try to make something clean and you end up just making everything worse. Strange how the cap looks smaller than the... Well, yeah, it could be ever so slightly smaller. They do have different, depending on the manufacturer. Got a cough. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I love my motorcycles. I had my motorcycle license before I even had my car license, and I very begrudgingly ended up getting a car license. But I've had more motorcycles than I've had cars. But these days I do not ride as much as I would love to. It's just not realistic. Hey Peter Retired, welcome. Thanks for dropping in. Let's see, where did we put that? Right. We need to put this back in. It was also very interesting to note that oscillating was... Now, I'm kind of curious why the oscillating sort of showed up a little bit and then stopped. It could be something to do with it was just simply the capacitor itself. That crack was an active kind of crack where it would move around and change the resistance. And so it might have been, it was partially shorted enough to allow the backlight driver to try and run, but it kept but then it would eventually get to the point where it was too much and it would shut everything down. Tom Morgan, yeah, people don't look. I guess, it's the same old thing where basically your fundamental policy of writing is assume nobody can see you. It's about the only way you have a chance of living most of the time. And the only sort of racing I got to do was drag racing. But drag racing is fun, but it's a very high cost per distance travelled. You go, yay, we hit 10 seconds. And of course these days it's no fun at all anymore. When you got these electric vehicles that basically would drop a 9.5 quarter straight out of the factory, or even a 10 quarter, and you're like, where's the fun anymore? About the only way I would find it fun, I think, if you went crazy in the sense of you say, okay, what can we do with a 500cc parallel twin or something like that? How far can we push this thing just for the hell of it? But I'd rather do what do you call it? What are they? Vintage? Not vintage. I'd rather do small cylinder capacity racing. But of course, the trouble is then getting the track, getting all your compliance, getting down there. It ends up being a lot more work than what you feel like you actually get enjoyment for. Hey, I'm a BMW driver, or at least I was, and sadly I enjoyed being a BMW driver. I miss my 320 E96. Wait, oh god, it's that long now, I'm starting to forget my model number. Hey, read that. The good looking series before the 2000s came out in 1996. 320i. And then they went a bit soft, in my opinion, when they did the next release, which is 2000. But they did a good job on the Z, I thought. It was a bit of a weird sort of gangster flashback type design, which was cool. But the actual 3 Series saloons were kind of a bit muted, in my opinion, with the next gen. They've gotten better again, but now their stupid kidney grills are getting stupidly large. Okay, why are you not sitting down? E36, thank you very much. Yeah, the E36 series. RC helicopters, that's another really good thing. I've actually would like to get back into that. I enjoyed that. I mean, I know there's drones, everybody can just get a drone these days and straight away you can do all that stuff without any drama, But flying model helicopters is more about the challenge of keeping it flying, because they do not want to keep flying. I don't want to do 3D stuff or anything like that. I just would like a nice flybarless collective pitch, sort of a 250-300 size. By the time you get up to things like the T-Rex 400, T-Rex 450 kind of size, it's a bit much for me. I don't want to be handling that kind of power. It's not a huge amount of power, but it's still a bit overwhelming for me. They walk back the buck teeth? Oh, thank goodness. Oh, yeah. I haven't looked at what the latest ones are. Can't afford to. But I dare say I am trying to make the next vehicle an electric one. So we're still holding on to the old BA Falcon. It still does the job. I mean, you just can't kill those motors too easily. You know, the Ford Barra 6-cylinder 4-liter. It's a fantastic motor. A lot of potential in it, but I don't care. Just as stock standard, it's near bulletproof. Probably the worst thing on them is their coil packs. They just seem to love eating coil packs for some reason. But other than that, it's hard to beat a Barra. Hey, Gabrielle N. Let's see, VFR, fly RC planes, but RC helicopters only on the sims. They fall out the sky too easily. They certainly do, yes. The only RC planes now I really care to fly would be discus launch gliders. I very much enjoy that challenge. But in terms of powered RC, I get too bored of them. I love designing them, constructing them, my own designs. You know, improving them, trying to make them work for the task. And then once I've done that, I'll sort of get very bored of them, which is why I quite like discus launch gliding, because discus launch gliding, it's more a challenge because you're fighting against, you know, yourself and Mother Nature, and trying to find a thermal really quickly. It's good fun. I really enjoy it. So yeah, that's pretty much how I've ended up with radio control stuff now. It's either discus launch gliders or helicopters. Have you seen the BYD Shark 5? I have not, no. I do see quite a few BYDs around, even in this town. I think a lot of people don't even know that they're electric vehicles, as in people in this town don't realise that they're... Whoa, what's going on here? Look at this. What's going on there? Why won't that open? That was weird. It just sort of snared on that corner there. Interesting. Okay, let's see if this even works. But yeah, first time I've ever had a keyboard backlight issue like that. So that's different. And my USB-C meter has gone to sleep. Anyway, we've got a boot. Oh, what the hell? Yeah, all good, booting properly, but why is my USB-C meter? I meddled with the software, which is always a bad idea. Okay, weird. I don't know whether it's OBS that's doing this, but it's showing me like this here should not actually yeah, that USB-C meter doesn't even exist, and yet it's showing it to me. I don't know what USB blah blah blah. Okay, let's see if we can get this to... No, it's got me stumped. Anyway, it's charging fine, so it's a fix. Now, I don't know why OBS... It's like tracking something that doesn't exist here. Wow, when you ask something to kill all and it doesn't, that's fun. Sudo kill all -9. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, lo and behold, just had to pull out the old -9 signal. Anyway, as you can see, it's charging good, and yep, that's all working. Can't really tell if the keyboard backlight's running, but we'll assume it is. It's charging, so I'm happy. Alright, what have we got for time? 9 o'clock. Normally, you know what, no. I was going to give myself a easy pass and deal with this tomorrow, but no. I'm actually going to properly reassemble this now, so I can straight away invoice it up. It has definitely got a hinge issue there. Oh yeah, okay. That's what the problem there is. That is nasty. Repairing EC car, EV, do you mean? Be good money in the future. Yeah, it will be a bit different skill set. I think there's, there's always going to be money in there somewhere. Yes, I know, it's boring. And that, my friends, is why you disconnect the battery while you're doing this. You see that screw that just bounced out there? That could have been cataclysmically bad. And thankfully, because I have the battery disconnected, it was of no risk at all. That was lucky. Could have gone horribly wrong, but mind you, I probably would have got 50,000 views for it. I mean, like, tech slips and accidentally blows up customer's machine just after repairing, tragedy, that kind of thing. People love that stuff. Come on. Believe me, it's no more enjoyable for me than it is for you. At least you guys can just go off and get a cup of coffee or do something else while you wait for me to finish this process. Me, I'm stuck here and I've got to do it. I'm actually also surprised at how rapidly that current spike sequence was, considering that it was a keyboard backlight controller. I didn't think, I was genuinely expecting a what do you call it, PMIC issue, because that's very much PMIC behavior. Coffee at 9 PM? No, it won't for some people. I know I won't be having any. But I mean, there are people on other continents in this world and their day's just starting. Or they're halfway through it. a Darko, the same problem for USB-C meter, using the same trick of reconnecting power cord to the meter usually. Oh, okay. It's still weird. I'm going to have to go through and check my software. Clearly I've got an issue there. But in saying that, I have been meaning to update that software because at the moment it uses SDL2 and SDLTTF to do the text generation, and it works. It does work, but I am doing around about 100 samples per second on my meter sampling, and I'm updating. Ideally, I just update it no matter what, and just let the operating system sort out which frames it discards. But I've been finding that it sucks up, at least on this machine, it sucks up about 5 to 6% of CPU, a single thread, doing nothing. Just the process of building the textures with the text and then destroying the text, all that sort of stuff, each frame, it's very costly. So I'm going to rewrite it using ImGUI and SDL3, and they handle, between the two of them, they will handle the text more efficiently. It's just because the way I'm doing the text in a very sort of brutish way. Generate the texture, put it onto the surface, render the all that sort of stuff. It's not very efficient, even though it's only a small amount of text. Whereas when you do it through something like ImGUI or other, proper systems, they will cache a lot of that stuff, so it doesn't suck up as much resources. Thomas, I'm going to be running through this one with SDL3 and ImGUI just to continue with my, experience gain after I've done Flexboard View with that, because I also next have to do my schematic viewer. That's actually going to be a major overhaul because the schematic viewer is written in C, not in C++, and it's old code. So it's going to be fun. So the more SDL3 ImGUI combination projects I do in the build up to it, then the better for my skill set when it actually comes to that difficult side of things. Because there's so many quirks that I keep running into when it comes to software development. And 90% of the times you go Google for it, or you go on the forums, or you go on the Discord chat, and nobody knows anything about it. So, well, we don't know, never seen that before. It's infuriating. Like the recent macOS one where the file open, save, type dialogues wouldn't even open up. And the final solution basically had, you would never have guessed it straight off. Which is why I essentially littered the internet now with the problem plus solution for any other poor bastard that runs into it. I keep running into too many of those kinds of issues. The issues where nobody else has ever encountered it before. It's like, brilliant. Alright. This person has a cat. I think it's a black and white cat too. You can tell by all the particular cat fur. It probably explains the hinge damage as well. The cat probably jumped up and knocked it over. Oh wow, yeah, that's trying to take that screw into the wrong place. Well, I'm glad that one at least went according to plan, or hoped plan. It may have been in a different location for that short, but at least we kind of had an idea of what we were dealing with straight off the bat. Miles, as long as they pay me, I'm good. Okay. Let's see, let's bootstrap this again. Where's my green pen of glory? Come here. Green pen of glory. Immediately boots up. Fantastic. Now we get our little dime bags. Put our precious resources in there. So should the customer say, I want my adhesive label thingy screw tops back, or I want my capacitor back, I'll go, here you go. Here's your little dime bag with all those bits and pieces. I don't think I've never had anyone want their broken parts. Oh, actually no, I've had one person, yeah. But as a general rule, no. For me, it's more actually personal archiving reference. Okay. Alright, another job, green stripe to go. Very good. Let's see, how much charge have you got? Oh, it's about 80% full, so I can just stick that straight onto the outbound shelf, so it's good. Alright, next one. Let's see, what have we got? A1990, pulls 2 amp on charge, no signs of life. Yeah. Question is that momentarily pulls 2 amps or constant pulls 2 amps? Yeah, one more job, yep. You can tell my vision is getting worse these days because my job numbers are getting bigger. So when I first started out doing this, my job numbers were, you know, like this 14-point text. Now it's 24-point text. Just the way it goes, I'm afraid. Some of us, we all have different ways in which we age. Yeah, it's a good point about the what voltage is that 2 amp occurring. Okay, I'm just going to check a couple of things. Alright, we're good. However, this is an A1990, so like the 2141, by policy, I don't power them up. I just open them up and have a look. Because you need to check the NAND rails first. Like the recent video that I uploaded was a very good example of why you do that, because it was a rare chance where the rails were basically bridging by a whisker. But fortunately, I suspect not enough current was able to flow across that bridge, that whisker bridge. And so by replacing the regulator, we were able to save it. But if they'd kept doing it, then sooner or later that whisker, due to the corrosion development, would have become perhaps strong enough, and a lot more than just a few milliamps would have gone across. Okay, 1041. Someone's been in here already. The little plastic protector's missing. What's that, Tom? You're losing your vision and your sight? That sucks. Hey, Rilla. So you going Helen Keller way. Alright, big thing to notice here, they've got a replacement screen on it. It's been replaced sometime past, and it's got corrosion on it. So just something to note. So it's, you can see the smidges of corrosion there. Swear I just heard something then. There we go. Nanrail hard short. So it could be C1990. We'll find out. Anyway, so yeah. Likely signature fault. Question is, has it gone too far? That's the other thing, is when you've got, say it is 20 amps and 20 volts and 2 amps, so you've got 40 watts. And if that's burning through the circuit board over in this corner here, that's bad news. That's bad news. 40 watts is enough heat to do a lot of damage. But I have started telling a lot of the B2Bs that send me stuff, I said, if you get a 1990 or a 2141, don't power it up. Just don't power it up. Send it up. Let me test it. And don't try open it up and do it yourself. Not that I don't specifically trust people, but it's a case of, if you are using my services, then you're probably best off not trying to open up customer machines and probe around like that. And if you are at the point where you feel like you can open up, probe around, then maybe you don't need my services anymore. I just generally prefer it if people don't mess around with things, because accidents do happen, and it's quite painful to have to report back to a person and say, okay, it probably was recoverable, but when you did this and this, you actually destroyed this, and so now it's not recoverable. Hey, Mr. Stamps, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, rule number 1, never trust anybody's work but your own. And yeah, that sounds a little bit pretentious, but it's a good rule. And it's not to say that other people are worse than you. Yeah, there's plenty of people better than me, miles better than me. It's more a case of assume that the work done by a prior person is probably faulty. And you will tend to find a lot of the mistakes, yeah, the issues of a board. And the number of times that we've had prior work come in, you clean up the prior work, and all of a sudden it works again. Hey, Jean-Marc. Even not your own. Absolutely, even not your own, yeah. For all intents and purposes, assume that your prior work was done by an inferior specimen. Only trust my work on game consoles. Okay. Alright, so we've got we've got the usual dust puppies in here. Okay, let's get the extractor on. The real issues might be over here. Yeah, okay. And you can see how that's a signature problem. That happens on them all. Whereas the rest of the board, perfectly good. But the wings, they take the hit. And yeah, I can see, you can actually probably see it yourself. You can see the corrosion on that C9080. Now, if all goes well, this is a very quick job. But sometimes it can not go well and it becomes... Okay, so we've actually got both rails here that are being hit. And that's bad news. So this is 2V5. This is one that actually is after the regulator. And this is PP bus. So what often happens with this particular machine is that this is the first one to go and then it burns its way through to the other side. So that's why I'm saying it's not good to power up the machines, because you'll just keep burning. Let's clear off pretty much this whole lot and we'll see where we are after that. We've got bobbling going on there. Okay, that's quick 4, and come on. Okay, see, there's a problem there. There's a problem. This is what I was talking about. You can see how it's charred and it's corroded and it's working its way through the board. So while it doesn't matter, if that was just PP bus, it's not going to matter. But the trouble is, right underneath it, on the other side of the board, is the V-reg. And so it eventually hits the V-reg and destroys the V-reg, which then destroys the NAND. I'm just going to see what the 2V5 is sitting at. Okay, we are open on that. Let's see what PV bus. Oops. Come on, Paul. Okay, looks civil. If we're lucky, we might be okay. You see, this is the direct opposite side of the board, and it's easier if I show on the schematic. So we're on the 1041. Life is so easy now for the cache search. Alright, so this is the cap and that's the pin that went all corroded. And we flip over, you can see it's right in this area here, which is right next to these pins, and then you get, there's your 2V5. So what happens is the corrosion grows and grows, and then you get the short between 2V5 and PP bus, and all of a sudden, when you have PP bus, which is 18, 20 volts, going to a 2V5 line, then this thing goes, I'm dead, and it's all over. So in this case, it's going to be a situation where my recommendation is going to be we do a data recovery ASAP, like once this is up and running, because there's no telling if that corrosion is going to keep going anywhere. We're not going to put a cap back on there. In this particular instance, unlike the prior one, I am confident enough that I can leave that one off. Hello. You up temperature yet? Okay. Hey creature. This is also a very good example of why I'm not worried about repair becoming a non-existent industry. Because for as long as we keep using things like MLCCs and we keep having corrosion, we can still repair these things. Yeah, okay, we might not be able to repair the T2s and other such stuff, but we can repair these jobs. And there's enough of them around. I'm just going to clean up all these gold pads. I'm going to use some 80-20 mix. And should make a pretty decent job of it. Yeah, nice. And we follow up with some 100%. I know it's not strictly speaking 100%, but yeah, 99.98 is pretty damn close. Yeah, that's pretty good. So what we're going to do is just going to put all those caps back. They are 22 microfarad, 6.3 volt. It's a really bizarre size. Actually, technically speaking, Apple has them listed as 20 microfarad, not 22. But the ones I can get my hands on are 22s. It was a case of, I think Apple got some manufacturer to really push the limits on these caps, and the manufacturer said, look, we can only get you to 20, and you just have to be happy with 20. And Apple's like, alright, fine, we'll live with that. Yeah, they should all not behave and will subsequently just make a big fat mess. So here we go. Yeah, there's a little bridge on those far two on the right. Just need some more flux. So the only trouble I have with this flux is that it does tend to race off quicker than when the parts are ready to reflow. So it's very nice in that it doesn't leave as much residue, but the downside is that it tends to leave the parts not quite floated back home. But I mean, that's more of it's more of a visually superficial thing. It's not truly a problem. For BGAs and all that, okay, you're just going to add some more under there. But everything else I like about the flux. It smells good, it behaves well, it doesn't turn to charcoal. But yeah, you just need to use a little more, which is kind of very much counter my behavior. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be using a board heater and all that sort of stuff. No. I suppose this is why you end up usually picking a flux that suits your style of work, as opposed to just trying out fluxes and go, well, I'm sticking with this while I've got stock. Yeah, that's a pretty good clean up there. That's the other thing, it does clean up quite nicely. Sam Parry, this is actually TCRS's flux. And I did actually buy this from him. It wasn't gifted to me or anything. Elemental Dynamics TCRS 759 AS X. But I don't know if he's selling it anymore though. That's the trouble. Tim's a lot like me in the sense of he enjoys the challenge of working these things out, and then he wants to move on to new stuff, and I totally get that. Oh, what's the mistake we just made? We haven't looked over the rest of the board yet. We almost went full NRF there. Nobody goes full NRF. Yeah, see, this is why you look at the rest of the board. Okay, so we've got corrosion there. It's not bad, but it will need cleaning up. Some fuzziness down there. Okay, no, that's getting problematic. See, now I could have just sent that back, charged the person 300 plus, and then 4 weeks later it's going to be back here with a different fault, and then I would charge them another 300 because it was a different fault. I was like, well, I fixed the other fault. This one's a new fault. But I can't do that to my customers. Not yet. Get out of there. Draco, that's actually probably a good sign. It means people are too riveted to spend time clicking on things. Okay, it looks like it's just this wing here still that has some issues, so we'll fix that up. Okay, we've got a little bit of fuzz down here, and on top of there, that one there is probably more my greater concern. It's what you call recurring revenue. It is, until the customer decides that BWE is a better role model than I am. At least I can always say, hey, I'm no BWE. Some flux. Yeah, we should all thank BWE for that. He's now set the bar so low that we seem like absolute heroes in comparison. Yeah, I told you I had my cranky pants on today. I did tell you all. I must say that I was saying to Elita the other night that Futurama has given us many things, but I think the term warn tell is one of the best things they gave me. I'm deliberately globbing up here. Just trying to. These are only little puffer caps. They're just noise. Not enough thermal capacity in that soldering tip pull. That would have been fun if I left that bridge there, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's a big rail to bridge that one. That would have done some damage. Actually, wait, no, that's the inductor. Just give it some heat, make it boil up that flux a little bit, get it to activate, and do some chewing away if there's anything left there. Okay. I'm genuinely not happy with that resistor. It feels like there's a little bit too much undercutting. Undercutting being where the corrosion has sort of destroyed the end cap, and so now the only sort of contact you have is actually on the underside, and it's starting to get eaten away too. So there we go. It was just feeling a little bit dodgy. I didn't want to leave that one there. It's over here. It's this resistor. What are you? 24K. Well, didn't I just deal with this one recently? I swear I've dealt with this resistor in the recent past. Okay, it wasn't the resistor I dealt with, it was the actual... Yeah. So what is this? U5111. What is this thing? Okay, that's a flip-flop. What do you handle? I think that's part of the touch bar. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we're going to take this resistor, put it on the other board. Wow, that just popped. So put that one there. This is the bad one. Put the bad one into our little holding container. And then I'm just going to put down some solder. Oh, Miles. Oh no, not the dreaded 1534s. Why would you bring up such a horrible board? I think it's universally accepted that of all the MacBooks, the 1534 is by far truly the worst. I mean, yeah, there's been some Frankensteins like the 1425 and stuff, but the 1534 was... it was a miracle on Hell Street, that was. What a horrible little machine that was. And I think what was even worse is that it was one of the first new style MacBooks that came out. So we see this thing and we're thinking, dear God, is this what we're going to be faced with now from Apple? But I think even Apple hurt themselves with that one. And so we never saw that design again. Thank goodness. Of course, they're doing their best now with the 2381 and 3113s, the new Airstar. They're horrible. Well, that's better than before. They might have even had a chance of getting more acceptance if they hadn't have used that horrible twin split S cable flex that they used between. Yeah, it was just some sort of nightmarish design that some sicko came up with. Alright, that cap needs to go, and I'm going to guess that resistor might as well. We'll see. I hope I get this sorted out soon. I've got 10 minutes before micro. Okay, so again, 8020. Oh, okay, that's actually not a resistor, that's just a little 3 or 12 picofarad. We do have some... What's going on there? I don't really want to mess with this. At least with the screen connector, yeah, you could just forcibly slip it in, slip it out without latching. I don't know whether they realised that they stuffed up there and allowed us to do that, but that keyboard flex was just wrong. I really don't want much flux going over here, but I do want to... That's good. These caps are usually pretty tough. They can take the heat. Usually. I'll still try to be gentle. I think I'm going to have to replace that resistor up there on the CD3215. It's a little too cauliflowered. Apple's manual tells you to leave it. But isn't that what they say on all their manuals? Okay, might need some scratch back on that pad. These ones are fine. Just leave them globbed. Okay, fortunately that pad came straight up good. Kind of wondering whether its neighbour should have come up too. I might do it. I think I'll just take its neighbour while we're at it. I mean, we're in this far. Fortunately, the 3215s aren't underfilled. Is that the Hunkenhertz? I don't know. Ich kann not sprechen Deutsch. No, board's not getting ultrasonic. It'll be fine. This is selective clearing. Completely different to selective hearing, which is what husbands tend to suffer. Well, looks like Knob74 realised I couldn't speak German, so it disappeared. Okay, transplant time. See, do I have the parts? Okay, well, the resistors I care about up there, they're in good nick, so we'll definitely transplant those. Why not? Let's just leave a great big glob of snot there. Fantastic. We'll do these one at a time. I don't have to do a full reflow on them. Okay, I'm not bothering to, whoops, I'm not bothering to refocus on this. Okay, there's those two done. We've got this little ceramic here. There's a provocation? Oh, okay. I knew the rest of the words, I didn't know the final word. My bad, I'm used to... Thank you for looking out. No, we do not use the Rossmann terminology. Big glob, better job. That's purely a sales pitch. Hey Fox Laser, how you going there? Yeah, busy. I'm way behind on things. Too many other dramas going on in life. Okay, we need to find out what that cap is. I won't dedumres. I won't. Schematics. Okay, where are we? We're on bottom side, left wing. So it's here. Whoops, there we go. That's this cap. 2.2402. Oh, what's the voltage? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Another one of these 25 volt, 2.2402. What? You gotta love coincidences like that, eh? We'll just take this one. Yeah. Hey Siri. Thank you. Okay, we need a little bit of flux over here to get that little cap centered down. The other was 50 volt, was it? Oh, right. There you go. See, no coincidence. It wasn't anything at all. That's because I didn't check my horoscope properly. Yeah, Paul Daniels' catch cry was, "You'll like it." Maybe not a lot, but yeah, you'll still like it, or something to that effect. Yeah, I think we're good now, and we've got just enough time to test this, clean it up, test it. Not enough time to rebuild it though, so yeah, because basically once I do micro, I'm not coming back to here tonight. So I'm just gonna gobble up all the flux, making a little bit of a mess of it, I'm afraid. And then we're gonna give some good old pink cloth and give it a bit of a Joey rub. Not sure how happy Joey Does Tech is about the fact that I refer to this as the Joey rub. Yeah. But he's stuck with it. I think we should be pretty happy with that. Extractor off. I know what I gotta do. I gotta brush out the case, otherwise I'm gonna put a good board into a bad case. So put the extractor back on, so we then blow it out with the airbrush. All good. Yes, check the USB-C ports. Good point. Fortunately, I do have stock of these now. They're good. It's always the ones that you do check that are fine. I wish I could have coffee, but not tonight. It's too late. 6 o'clock's my cutoff in the evening. That's pristine. I have a feeling this may have actually had them replaced prior. Murphy's Law? Absolutely. Okay, at least the nice thing about the 1990 is that it is not a nightmare to reinstall. I do wish subsequent Macs were more like this. It just seems like almost with every year, barring the 2337 and that sort of thing, yeah, they're all more and more difficult. Because that flex there is always the problem. Come on, where are you? There you are. screen. And we put the Wi-Fi ones down because, well, it's not good to have wires dangling around with metal heads. Broad metal heads at that too. I mean, there's very little that they could come in contact with, but you just don't know. It'd be the worst night of your life or something, and something bad happens. Okay, let's see. Check. Better check our resistances. Because if something goes wrong, at least then you'll know that wasn't your fault, so to speak. So 800 rising, that's very good for that. And PP bus, 800 rising, that's good. There's no names on this side, so that's the only one we had to worry about, so we're good to go. Hey, Michael Chan. It's been a while. Where have you been? Busy, I guess. I'm just about to wrap up, unfortunately, Michael. But it's good to see you. I'm just going to see if we managed to save this machine or whether it was too far, too late. What's the bet my USB-C meter's not going to work again? $20 volts, and the meter is not working. Something's locking it up. Oh, well, there we go. It's booted. Yeah. You can see the trackpad. We've got a screen up there, and we've got a charging current. Oh boy. Alright, well that's 2 for 2 tonight, so I'm happy about that. Ooh. Oh. Sometimes that catches me out. People have a very short screen on time. So what will happen is after a minute it will then shut itself back down, and you just see it as collapsing, and you're like, ah, it's the end of the world. But no, it was just a case of it shut down. Let's see if there's got any battery in it. No. Okay, so the battery is a little weak on this one. We'll just sit tight for a second. Actually, I think what it was in this particular instance, it hadn't even started to ramp. Bong, there we go. Hey, Greg. Has anyone tried to repair chips at their microscopic level? Not really. I know there are people who do that, but it depends what you mean by like repairing bond wires. That's something that's done. Okay. So what I'm gonna do I not have a trackpad? Oh yeah, I do. The screen's just rather dim, unfortunately. Shut down. The screen is actually every now and then pulse flicking, so I suspect they've either got a problem with the camera and they've got automatic brightness on or something. Okay, so what I want to see here, I've shut it down. I want to see if the battery ramps up. So primarily this 401 value here, I want that to slowly come up, because that represents the minimum current that is being passed to the machine during that whole. It's going down. That's no good. It just keeps going down. That's really no good. Oh, here we go. Now it's staircasing, finally. So that's what we were waiting for. We wanted to see that staircase effect come up because this it lets you know that it's working its way up the charge ladder. So that's good. Some people call it the ladder. I call it the staircase. But the concept's the same. The batteries often are shot on these because they get drained fully down. Alright, well, that's it for tonight. Okay, so we had 2 for 2. Thankfully, the first one was more difficult in just simply finding it, and this one wasn't difficult in finding it, but then we had all the secondary damage that we had to clear. So again, it's a good example of, even though it's only a capacitor replacement, you still charge a full price for it because there's all the other work that went into it, like finding the first one and this one cleaning up the other. Also a good example, a reaffirmation of why you don't power these up, these 1990s and 2141s, because if that was putting, say, 40 watts into that capacitor, hell, even 4 watts is more than enough to slowly destroy those vias through the board with the corrosion and start converting the resin that makes up the fiberglass into, it carbonizes it, and then once that carbonizing process starts, it will rapidly, you've seen what it does when we've had to dig it out on other boards. So 1990s, 2141s, don't power them up, open them up, check the values and go from there. So alright, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do some other stuff. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one whenever it may be. Until then, you all take care. I'll see you later.